Hello there, I'm the GeekMaster. Welcome to this collection video. So, for a bit of background before we start. A while ago, me and Big Game Al, link down below in the description, shared shorts of our Pokemon game collection and got fairly positive feedback. And since then, Al has done a collection video. And he urged me to do one showing really what games I have a bit more in detail, but I'm not going to try and make it too long. Anyway, I think I've got all my games together. I make it, if I've counted right, 71. I have some cool ones that I don't think Al had, but I don't have a lot of the older ones, especially in boxes. Mostly because I had them when I was younger and had to sell them or whatever. But I'm going to go through the video, not talk loads about each thing, so I don't want to get too long, but a little detail about each. And for this video, we have a mascot, which we haven't seen on the video for a while, and that is Pikachu. Specifically, this very special Pikachu, who has a Psyduck umbrella, and has this tag. It is the London City, banker Pikachu, and this was only available at the Pokemon Center pop-up shop at Westfield Shepherd's Bush back in October to November 2019 in the run-up to the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield for the Switch. Reason being, they are set in the Galar region, which is based on the United Kingdom. So, here. The main city in the game is called Wyndon, which as you can guess is London. So I was there Saturday, and I saw the Shard, which is what one of the Pokemon's based off, so that's pretty cool. But yes, this was the only place you could get this, and I think literally the day we went, which was about 2-3 weeks after it opened, was the last day they had these. So really happy to have that never happened, a bowl of Pikachu. Yeah, so cool. Okay. So, little background quickly, then we'll get into the games. So I first played Pokemon before it even came out here in the UK. My mate had a copy of Red. I played it. It was cool. And it went from there. And in case you can't tell, we got a Detective Pikachu poster there. A couple of Ash Ketchum and game hats there. We got a Pikachu pop vinyl as a mascot there. We got loads of manga and DVDs there and cards here. Yeah, I've got other odd bits. Got other plushies. I've got Pikachu money box. Got other stuff, I think. But yeah, in case you haven't guessed, I'm a Pokemon fan. Quite a hardcore, old school one, really. So, I'm going to do this by splitting the games into 3 lots. The main games, spin-offs, foreign games, because I have actually acquired quite a few foreign games now. So, this game, what I'm going to start with, may be the oldest game I currently own that I've had, well, ever, really. And it is in this classic Game Boy case. I'm sure you can tell what it is. Pokemon Yellow. This is my original Pokemon Yellow from when I was about 12 years old, back in 1999. Bought it day after release from Dixon's for $19.99. I remember seeing it in the paper and buying it. I have a good memory like that. Not short term though. Yeah, played this so many times, and maybe I should go back on it. I haven't played it for a while actually. But yeah, my original cartridge. I did actually have a red before this, but I think I gave it to my cousins. I've also had blue at some point, but I think I swapped that for a Charizard card years and years ago. So yeah, but this, out of all of them, this is the only one I have. My Pokemon Yellow. This is special. I said that's all I have for Gen 1. I want to get red and blue though. Gen 2, it was gold, silver, crystal. Had gold, imported it from America. Moved house, it disappeared overnight, which is really annoying. That Christmas, which was only a month or so later, thankfully, I got this. Which is, again, in a Game Boy case, Pokemon Silver. Now, the problem with these games is the battery dies where it runs the clock and your save data won't save. Don't know how, but this lasted, I think, getting on for 20 years, which is amazing. Thankfully, my main team ever has been preserved in another game I'll show you later on. But out of the two, this probably, I suppose, is a bit more nostalgic because it's the oldest one I've got. But I much prefer this. This is so cool. And also, look how the cartridge sparkles. So cool. I had the second copy I bought of Gold. I bought from the boot sale. I don't know where that is, but I don't remember getting rid of it, so it might be around somewhere. And then years ago on eBay, unfortunately suffering from the battery issue a lot sooner than my silver, is a copy of Pokemon Crystal, which is cool because it's a see-through. It's the third version based on Suicune, so it's the Gen 2 version of Yellow. Very sparkly. If I might get the battery replaced, it'd be cool to play through this again. The issue is I can't transfer any shiny Pokemon, and if you know shiny Pokemon in Gen 2, you'll know exactly what I mean. If not, don't worry. But I can still play Crystal, because we're going to advance a few years into the future temporarily, and that is with this, which was where they released Gen 2 on 3DS eShop after Gen 1 actually, and they did these boxes, and this is the one for Crystal. So yeah, it's based on the original Game Boy box. So you've got the Chikorita on the side. It's also very, very shiny. So yeah, pretty cool this. I think this was £10 or something from Game. Not much more than it was on eShop. Now we get into the fun territory, which is Generation 3. This is actually 20 years old in about 2.5 months over in the UK. It actually came out the day I would have finished year 11, except being year 11, we finished a bit earlier. So that was cool. It meant we were able to get to the game shop at, like literally when it opened. And I think we were pretty much the first people in, if I remember, me and my mate. From Game Station years and years ago. God, I missed the Game Station. Anyway, and this was the one I bought. Yes, I needed somewhere to put them, so I used some spare DS cases, and well, empty ones actually I bought from a boot, so I was thinking about it with sleeves, and made custom sort of cases. This game, as you may be able to tell, it's not Guitar Hero, it's by Pokemon Ruby, and that is my favourite game of all time, Pokemon Ruby. Love it, absolutely love it. I love the cartridges as well, they're so cool. Why do I love it? It looks amazing. The music isn't just good. I love the songs. I think the Pokemon designs are fun. I think Hoenn, the region, is the most beautiful and the best looking of the lot. It's based on Okinawa, which is the islands at the south of Japan. Really, really good, this game. Well, definitely my favourite. Then we also got the third version, so the Crystal Yellow of that generation in here, which is Pokemon Emerald, and it's American. And I've had this before it came out over here. So yeah, I've also checked, because I know these ones are notorious for being faked. Mine is legit. I've checked it. I actually bought it brand new, I think, from a shop that imported games like back in 2005. So yeah, again, it's got the same sort of cartridge. It's see-through. Seen some fake ones of these lately actually, and you can tell they're different to this. The sticker's completely different, doesn't look right. But yeah, you can tell it's aging though, because the label's slightly worn. But yeah, made a big mistake in restarting my Emerald. I must have had good shiny odds, having 3, I think, in 160 hours, which you don't get back then, so I must have some good luck on that game. Shouldn't have restarted it. But although this might be an improved version of Ruby, there's something about Ruby I prefer. Also in Gen 3, they re-released Generation 1, so Red and Blue and Yellow for the Game Boy Advance along with them. Except they did it based on the Japanese games of Red and Green in terms of the form of Fire Red and Leaf Green. And the one I bought was this one. Again, another fake case, which is Fire Red. It's a remake in the style of Ruby of Gen 1 with extra stuff. It's a really fun game, I have to admit, and was either the first or second game I played on my Game Boy Play. Much cooler playing on TV. Yeah, so I've had that since, so like, October 2004, I think. I said I pretty much got all of these when they came out. So Yellow, day after it came out. Silver, Christmas 2001. No, 2000. Crystal about 2003-4. Ruby, day it came out. Fire Red, day it came out. Emerald, before it came out. And also, actually, only last year, I traded in a couple of games at my local game shop, and with a bit of remaining credit after I bought my Mega CD, I bought this copy of Leaf Green, which is the other version to Fire Red. So I quite like these cartridges as well, actually, even though they're not sparkly and see-through. But yeah. And I said best generation in my mind. That brings us to Generation 4, where the two main games were Diamond and Pearl, which we will revisit in a bit. And my original Diamond was American. Sold that to a mate a few years back. Wanted to play it again in the last few years, so bought this when it's £20, I think. I don't even think it was that long ago. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago in CX. Pokemon Diamond. Because, to be honest, Dialga's cooler than Palkia. Right, yeah. So, not all these games are going to have the cartridges or game cards in them, purely because I keep them in my Switch case, my DS case, my Game Boy case, whatever. Just so they're all there, all together, I can play them. But I do have them. So, here's my Diamond. Well, not the game, as I said, it's in the case, but it is complete, although it was a tap-by game. But there's the case. If you want to see the cartridges, let me know, and I'll sort out another video where I show them. But one I can show you is actually a spoiler, I guess, to my most recent pickups video, where I had credit in London and bought Pokemon Pearl, the counter version, which is with Palkia. Which was cooler? Dialga, Palkia, that one in my mind. And it's steel type, which is my favourite. And this one has a receipt in it, so we'll just remove that. It does have the game. And again, it's complete. So, this was 35 quid, I think. But as I used credit for it, so happy for that. I've actually got my mind on buying Pokemon Platinum, the third version next, which again I used to own. And in fact, this isn't the first time I've had the Pearl. I remember buying it from Asda years ago and had to sell it. Also, this is unscratched, so that's pretty cool. And then, so I don't have the third version, but what they did do was release remakes of Generation 2, so Gold and Silver. I had Soul Silver. I sold it to a mate. Again, didn't want to because I love Soul Silver. But I had to at the time. But I did manage to get this off my brother, Heart Gold. Now, it did come in a bigger box with a pedometer called the Poke Walker, which I think I've seen is rated as the most accurate Poke pedometer ever, or one of them. I do actually have Poke Walkers somewhere. I don't know where I put them, but I do. But this is Heart Gold, the remake of the, Gold. Again, no cartridge because it's away, but there's the manual, so it's complete. So, yeah. Got that. This might actually be the version my brother bought on release, because I think I bought Soul Silver, he bought this, and I bought this off him a little while ago for like 15 quid or something. 10 quid, something along them lines. So I think this might be my brother's original one from 2010. 10? Let me think. Yeah, I think it's 2010. Yeah, pretty sure it's 2010. Actually, hang on. Yeah, 10. I think Platinum was 9 and Diamond and Pulse 2007. Anyway, from there, we got to Gen 5, which is black and white. I've never owned white in English. I bought black on release. Again, sold it to mates, I needed the money. And, again, spoilers for my pickup video, Pokemon Black, which I also bought with credit on Saturday. This one was at, well, it was a Woolwich, but then I realised afterwards on the train that the case was a bit damaged, water damage, ripped. So I managed to get a change for one at Streatham in South London, which is clean and has the cartridge. So, really happy to have this. So technically it's the third version of Black I've owned in English, but really it's my second one. So yeah, actually really enjoyed Black and White, probably more than Diamond and Pearl, but I think I prefer the next game more. This was good because it forced you to use completely new Pokemon, but whereas Gen 3 basically made you restart, you can connect to Gen 2, this gave you them back after you'd beaten the league. And you've been able to transfer Pokemon through all the games ever since Generation 3. You can't quite do it to the most recent games yet, but we should get something about that this year and probably soon, I'd have thought. And Gen 5 is where things went a little different. Rather than doing a third version, so Platinum, Crystal, etc., they did sequels, which were Black and White 2. Here's Black 2. This is my original Black 2, which I bought on release date. I think this actually got announced on my birthday. I reckon it would have been 2012. Yeah, 2012, I reckon. I'm pretty sure it was at my birthday, because I think they announced it when I was out at a nightclub for my birthday, on my birthday. Could be wrong, though. I know Black came out literally 4 days after my birthday, the year before. This, though, I prefer to Black, so that's the original, that's the sequel, and I prefer that one, even though that's generally rated a better game. In fact, that even got 40 out of 40 in Famitsu magazine, which very few games have had. If you know what that means, then you'll get the idea. No new Pokemon in here. Some new forms where they changed around a bit, new extensions to the map, and you got older Pokemon sooner, but just for the story. And in fact, I've even got receipts in here. Again, no cartridge because it's away. In fact, I think... No, forget that. Here we go. Wow. Right. So, the receipt. Probably won't be able to see this, but $29.99 on release date. So, yeah. Imagine they're that much now. But this, much prefer this to Black. Then you get Gen 6, which is where it shifted over to the 3DS. This came out in October 2013 with Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. So this one is the one I bought on release date, which was a Saturday. I think they're going, it's the first one to have a global worldwide release rather than be staggered. And this one was bought from CX and I couldn't get the sticker off because it was a bastard. So, yeah. This was also credit, I think, a few months back for like 32 quid or something. Again, it's got sleeves in it. No cartridge because it's away. And this one actually does have the cup and the manual. This is where we got our first main series 3D game as well. It's a good game. I think it's probably my least favourite out of all of them. But it's still a very good game. I'm not going to argue, it's just my least personal favourite. And I know it's going to trigger some people, but Gen 4, which is generally considered a lot of people's favourite, is actually like my second least favourite probably. I never really... So I didn't like it, I just didn't get on with it as much. So, yeah. But Pokemon X and Y for Gen 6. And in fact, I preferred what they did after that, where they remade Generation 3, which was Ruby and Sapphire, in the form of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which I bought on release date, which I think was Black Friday. I don't even think they had a manual at this point. Cool case, no card because it's away. I think Sapphire is the same. Yep. But what I do have for them are the pre-order Kyogre and Groudon figures. So I might show them in the video as well, because I've got a few of them, different pre-order ones. And as I said, it's remakes of Ruby and Sapphire. These are the best remakes in my opinion so far, but that might be because I also like the original games. But I think the original is better than this. I think that's generally always been the case, if I'm honest. Although these are definitely the best ones in my opinion. Then it went to Generation 7 with Pokemon Sun, Pokemon Moon, which again, bought on release. There's a little Pokemon card game leaflet there. And we got Pokemon Moon, same again. Again, cards away in my DS case. Much prefer these to X and Y. I think they're not chibi like X and Y are. And I think the idea of having different islands you travel to was quite cool. Also introduced regional forms where they did new versions of older Pokemon, like this really, really tall Executor, which a lot of the time you can't even see the head, you just see like a bit of its body and neck. It's almost like a giraffe coconut tree thing. Also, it's got a cat. I actually have a plush of that as well. So yeah. But, however good I think they are, I prefer what they did next, which was where they did third versions again, like they had done before, with Crystal and Yellow, but rather than do one, they did two, which was a Moon version and a Sun version in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Again, bought brand new on release. In fact, I think these ones were partly funded by work, because I left work a couple of months before and I had like 40 quid to spend, so I think they paid for one of them, which was nice. These were expanded versions, new areas. These actually did introduce new Pokemon halfway through a generation for the first time. Better story, better music for some of the stuff as well. I have to admit, the wild Pokemon music is epic on here. But there's some really cool touches to these. And generally, I think these are cool. Plus you get to surf. There's a surfing minigame, which is reminiscent of the one in Pokemon Yellow if you've got the Surfing Pikachu from Pokemon Stadium. That leaves us with... Oh no, so before we go on to Generation 8, they did Generation 1 remakes, and these were the first Pokemon games on Switch. Let's go Pikachu and Eevee. I bought this one on release 1, this one a bit later. In fact, I didn't even have Switch till not long before this came out. These were designed to encourage new Pokemon to play Pokemon, and also focus on Go features, Pokemon Go. It was weird, instead of battling wild Pokemon, you just basically threw balls at them as you were playing Pokemon Go. I quite like it. It's quite cartoony around Kanto, but it looks really good. It's annoying the Pokemon can run away, but they brought in the motion, and I think they're quite cool actually. And I chose Eevee for the starter purely because I had Pikachu as a star in Yellow. And actually, these are classified as remakes of Yellow specifically. So that's quite a cool touch actually. Then we get to Generation 8. Starting with Pokemon Sword, Pokemon Shield. And these are the ones that were based in Galar on the United Kingdom. Mostly England, a bit of Scotland, really, if I'm totally honest. These were the first main series games on a home console. It took them like, what, these came out in 2019, so about 23 years. You can see massive graphics difference compared to the older games. I think a lot of people didn't like these. I actually did. They brought in a lot of new Pokemon later on, throughout the generation. And these were the first ones with DLC areas, which were based on Scotland, I think, especially Edinburgh, and I think it's the Isle of Man. I think, could be wrong, but I think it's the Isle of Man. So yeah, they even reference the United Kingdom. There's a teapot Pokemon. As I said, one based on the Shard. You can get the hill drawings. So yeah, so these ones resonated with me a bit, because it's like, well, live there. And what they also did in Generation 8 was remake Gen 4 games. Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. These ones weren't received as well because they were pretty much direct remakes of Diamond and Pearl rather than updated graphics, more realistic ones like Sword had. New areas, new features. Personally, they're fun to play, but they are pretty similar to the originals, I admit. But I did enjoy playing these more than the DS ones, I will admit that much. And then probably the best game in Generation 8 came out about just over a year ago. And that is Pokemon Legends Arceus. This is also based on the area where Gen 4, so Diamond and Pearl, was set. But if it is set 200 years in the past, you can battle Pokemon. You just go around throwing balls at them. It's kind of like open world-ish. You get more like you get a few smaller open areas. And it features a lot of features that appeared in the Gen 9 games. This is probably the best Pokemon game we've had in a long time. You go back to playing it, actually. It's also got a decent story. And again, it introduced new Pokemon as well. It also features people who are clearly ancestors of people from other Pokemon games, not just the Diamond and Pearl ones. So, if you want a different, more fast-paced Pokemon game, something different, this is the one for you. Hopefully they'll do more Legends games, because this is epic. And for the main series games, just to bring us to a close, because I'm also conscious of the time, we have Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet, which are Gen 9 and only came out in November, so about 5 months ago. Nearly going on 6, I can't believe it's been that long. This is my main one, but I bought both on launch. These are set in Spain, Portugal, and feature you being a student, and you go around doing, well, effectively gyms and other stuff. It's got a full open world, and it's got more tasks to do than the other games, and it's got more new Pokemon than the old, most recent games have. And we are currently getting DLC, where I think they've at least announced 7 or 8 new Pokemon on top. You also get past or present forms of old Pokemon, which is pretty cool as well. So, yeah. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And they are my European English main series games. There's still quite a lot there, but I do have all of them since Gen 6. I'm missing a couple from Gen 4, a couple from Gen 5, and only one from Gen 3. One from Gen 2 and 2 from Gen 1. So I've got a lot of them, but I said Gen 1 to 3 I don't really have boxed. So yeah, but that's still pretty cool. So the next thing I want to cover is spin-off games. So I think from here I'm going to just go a bit faster, but I'll still provide details. So for Game Boy, we have 3 games. We have Pokemon Pinball, which is like this because you put a battery in here and it rumbles as you're playing pinball. This is an epic game, but unfortunately it will suffer from the battery problem. I think this one has done, but I think I paid £6 for this in the local shop a while ago. Need to see if I get the battery sorted, not that one, the actual memory battery, and give it a go, because it is a lot of fun, this one. Good fun to build up the Pokedex. We also have the trading card game, which I used to have years ago, and a guide to. I've got a load of Pokemon guides as well. I think Griffo Retro Gaming done a video on his Pokemon guides recently, so I might do one too. This is a fun game based on the first 3 sets of the Pokemon cards. So the base set, Jungle and Fossil. There's a second one that only came out in Japan, but I'd love to see them get released on Switch. This is getting released on Switch Online. I'd love to see the other main series games as well, but I'd love to see the second one get released with a translation. After all, we got Sin and Punishment, so why not? And the third game is Pokemon Puzzle Challenge for the Game Boy Color. It's a sort of Tetris-y Pokemon game, really. I can't remember where I got this. It's quite fun, actually. It's based on Gold and Silver because it's got Pikachu and Pichu. And so it's a Tetris game. It's quite fun, actually, but I don't think you see it about very often. Definitely not box, which mine isn't. We also have a game for the Game Boy Advance spin-off, which is another pinball one. Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. This is actually, well, it was on the eShop for Wii U, but So I bought it, so I've got it there as well. But got the cartridge as well. I think I bought this from CX a few years back. It's a fun game. I think I prefer the first one, but this is still pretty good. DS spin-off games, we have Pokemon Ranger. There's 3 of these. I think the other ones are called Guardians Rising, maybe, and Shadows of Lamia, but this is the only one I've got. You basically go around, well, rescuing people, I think, using Pokemon. You use stylus, draw around Pokemon to catch them. They even did the whole thing with it in the anime, I think. Again, have got the game, but it's away. No manual, though. Then we get to Mystery Dungeon. So these are dungeon crawler ones. I've never really played Mystery Dungeon. They've never really appealed, but I've basically got this off a mate. This one is complete. Even though it's an American case, it is a PAL game. So yeah, I think I actually have this one American as well, but that's cart only, I think. But I could be wrong. Maybe. But I said, they're not really for me, but it's still a Pokemon game, so I had to have it and give them a chance. This is an underrated one, which doesn't get mentioned much, and I think it was a forerunner to Pokemon Shuffle when that was a thing, and it's Pokemon Link. You can see the Pokemon designs are similar to Shuffle, and you have to line up 4 in a row to make a link. It's one of them games. It's actually really fun, so it's not mentioned much. Again, unfortunately, I don't have the manual, but I do have the game. It's just in my case. I still play this fairly often because I actually really enjoy it. It's a different one to look out for. It's fun. There's also Pokemon Dash, which is a racing game. It was one of the very first DS games, maybe even the launch title, which I don't have, so that's one I do want to look out for. But for the 3DS, we have Super Pokemon Rumble, which is basically where you'll wind up toy ones, you go along courses battling Pokemon. I bought the Wii U one off the eShop just before it closed. The Wii one I wish I'd got, you could find shiny Pokemon on there. And then there's also one that came out, I think, called Rumble World, which was a free game to download on the 3DS, but you could buy diamonds using the game, or you could buy it like this, where you get everything unlocked. This one, though, is actually complete, and the game's still in there. That's not scratched as well. As I said, your toy Pokemon, basically. I don't know what you can see the screenshots there. It's cool because the Wii U one, which is only digital only, so I can't even show it, even if I do have it. You actually got sort of like NFC figures, sort of like Amiibo, before Amiibo were a thing, really, I think. I'll let you go through the games, they're quite cool, but I've never seen them in person, I don't think. But I'd love to get one day. I think they even did card space on this, which is quite cool. That's it for the handheld spin-offs. But I do have some home console ones, starting with the classic one that everybody knows, Pokemon Stadium, which was the first time we ever got to see Pokemon in 3D. You could play your Game Boy Pokemon. You could also play red, blue, and yellow on here in either single, double, or triple speed if you unlocked it. And there's mini games. This is fun, and recently, last month, came out on Switch Online. And we also got Pokemon Stadium 2, which of course has got a gold and silver cartridge, which is actually sparkly, but I don't think it's going to come through the protector. I think this is actually the most expensive N64 game I have at the minute. Obviously, we're going for the full set. So, yeah. But this is a fun game. This isn't the one I actually bought. I bought it off a mate a good few years back. My brother bought this from CX, God knows how long ago. But I played this one more than Stadium. He preferred Stadium. So, when I bought my Stadium 2 off of my mate, I swapped with him for my brother's one, because I'd already uploaded Pokemon from my Silver to this. So I still have access to my Silver team, even though my Silver battery died, and my team basically died. So that's a nice touch, and this is one my brother had for years. There's also another game I'm sure a lot of people know about, which is Pokemon Snap. It's a, well, because of the name, it's a photography game. I think this one's really loved by fans. It is different. It's a very good game. You're on rails, just taking photos of Pokemon in different environments, doing different activities. Bit limited in number of Pokemon. I think it's only 63 out of the original 151. But if you want something different to play, this is a good one to try. It's also on Switch Online. Stadium 2, by the way, is coming this year. And there's actually one more for 64, which I think is also on Switch Online, but doesn't get seen or mentioned as much. And it actually relates to Puzzle Challenge. And it is Puzzle League. So this is based on the same concept as Puzzle Challenge. I mean, it's even got the same sort of logo. But this one's a purely Gen 1 version. And it's actually heavily anime based. It features, obviously, the characters from Pokemon, but it's actually got characters from the anime. So Jessie and James Team Rocket. And, of course, as you can see from the logo, Ash Ketchum with his hat there. That same one. Can't believe the series is over. It plays the same though, basically. And you have to beat the trainers like who focus on different strategies depending on their type. It actually has the voices of the people who voiced the characters in the anime back then, and even has a couple of anime cutscenes, and also I think music from the anime. And I think there's even a couple of scenes that I used from the movie, the original one, if I remember rightly, especially with Team Rocket. This is a good game. It's not mentioned that much, but it is on the Switch Online. Also, I bought this for about 20 quid. I'm glad it's now like 40 odd. But yeah, underrated this one. Moving on to GameCube. So this is the one you'd probably see the most. It's Colosseum. This is one of only 3 GameCube games that are my original ones from, well, when I bought them on the release day. This was the first 3D Pokemon RPG game. Came with its own memory card, and to be honest, it needed it. Also worked with the Game Boy Link cable, so you could trade Pokemon from your Game Boy games, Ruby and Sapphire, and I think possibly Fire Red Leaf Green later on, to it, or from this to the Game Boy games, and also to do battles on here, in the same way you do on Stadium. There's just custom general battles against the computer, as well as the story mode. Didn't let you catch wild Pokemon, which was a big criticism of it. But there you go. Awesome music though. Has some awesome music, especially in the computer battles, where it's got heavily remixed versions of the battle music from Ruby and Sapphire. This is one of my favourite Pokemon games, I have to admit. Not just because it's Ruby Sapphire, but I've got a lot of memories of it. Not just story mode, but the multiplayer battles, and also the battles against the computer. Also came, I think, as a bundle with the GameCube, but I already had the GameCube, and as I said, bought this on release date back in, I think, May 2004. Was also the first time you could get a lot of Gen 2 Pokemon, or Pokemon that weren't on Ruby and Sapphire, because there's only 200 out of 386 on Ruby and Sapphire. These let you get a few more, mostly Gen 2. And it's complete with an upside down disc. Also, this one was different in that you didn't just catch Pokemon. Well, you couldn't catch wild Pokemon. You caught or stole other trainers' ones, which were being turned into shadow Pokemon, sort of evil ones. And you catch them and purify them. And they have special moves. And that's how you transfer them over to the Game Boy games. And then, about a year and a half later, a sequel came out. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, with probably the most coolest looking Pokemon ever, Shadow Lugia. That is so cool, that Pokemon. I think its name on the game is XD-001. And it's basically a sequel 2 years after Colosseum. Except this one does let you catch wild Pokemon. There's more Pokemon to catch across all the generations. Also, you on this one, you start with Espeon and Umbreon. This one, you choose Eevee, and you get to evolve into whatever you want. So that's pretty cool. The other difference is, this one will work with all the Game Boy games for definite. This one doesn't always. But also, this one is about 40-50 quid maybe. Last I checked, this was going for 235. So yeah, quite a bit. And it's complete. And that's because this is the second of the 3 GameCube games I have that were mine from when I was younger that I bought on release. I remember I was at college and actually went to Game Station at my lunch to go and buy this. Whereas I got my mum to buy this downtown. But both of these were bought brand new on release date and are my original copies. Although this one was with my brother and I bought it back off him a while ago. This has always been mine. But these are my originals. So they've got that bit of nostalgia as well. But there's 2 more on GameCube. So we have, this one. I don't actually have a case for this, so I've had to put one together. But it is Pokemon Box, which you don't see that often, and is a storage system for Generation 3. You could store Pokemon on here. The more you store, you got special Pokemon. I think if you completed every space but 1, you got Surfing Pikachu. You could get Pokemon with special moves. Also, you could use it to play Ruby and Sapphire on the TV. And also, you could do like Hall of Fame presentation pieces, just line your Pokemon up to show. Really, really cool though. Not seeing that often as far as I'm aware. I'd love to get more of a proper case. I don't want to, but I might have to get a reprint cover it, because although I've had this case for a long time, well, I've just literally written Pokemon Box on whatever. In fact, it's faded an awful lot, but it is there. Maybe it'd be better to get a reprinted cover if I have no cover, to be honest. One more GameCube game, and this is one you also don't see or hear mentioned very much. Pokemon Channel. I used to have a copy of this years ago. I never bought it when it came out. I bought it a bit later. Sold it, but bought another copy. And last I knew, this was going for 50 odd quid. I think I bought this like 2017, maybe. About 5-6 years ago. For about 8 quid, I believe this was in CX. Specifically the Dalston store when I was in London. And as you can see, it says include special gift Jirachi, who's one of the mythical Pokemon for Ruby and Sapphire. If you complete this, you can transfer Jirachi over to Ruby and Sapphire. I think you can only do 1 per game, but I can't remember if it's 1 per playthrough of this, or only 1 to each copy of Ruby and Sapphire. I can't remember. And this basically has you living with a Pikachu, and you just watch TV programs, and you progress by doing things like going to locations, talking to Pokemon, and you get activities like colouring in. There's a special anime thing about Pichu Brothers, which features Meowth and Team Rocket at the end, I think. Also had a virtual version of Pokemon Mini, which is what made this game really cool. Pokemon Mini was a mini handheld where you could play a few games. Always wanted one of them. Love to get one still. Yeah, Meowth is there, voiced by the well, back then it would have been Maddie Blaustein, R.I.P. One who did Meowth in the anime. So this is more of a child's game, but it's still a fun one. It's nothing else for the Mini, but quite like the Jirachi and the Pichu special. And it's complete. So that's the GameCube. A couple more English spin-offs, then the foreign games, and then we're done. So we have Battle Revolution for the Wii, which I didn't buy that long ago. This is the Gen 4 version of Colosseum, except this one isn't an RPG. It's more stadium-like, in that you have different stadiums you have to go to and battle. It's a fun game. It's not as good as Colosseum. It's also pretty easy to complete, so I got my original one the day before it came out, and by the time we got to midnight of that very day, I'd already beaten it and got the final prize. Bear in mind when it started to about 7, I think, or something, because I've been working. That's just how long it is. But it's fun to do 2 battles against other people, and you can battle people online with it. So it did have that going for it, as well as some special prizes, and it's complete. I think this one's about 15 quid. I didn't pay that. I didn't pay 32.99 either. But I've not had it that long. I think I bought it last year. It's a fun battle game, and the battles are narrated by the narrator of the anime, which is a nice touch as well. So it feels like you are battling in the anime. what's next? Oh yes, also on the way is another game I picked up either late last year or early this year. Poker Park Wii. This was about a £22 game. I got it for 17 off eBay. And it's basically you go around a Pokemon theme park with Pikachu, and go on rides, take photos, play skill games. It's just a sort of random spin-off game, really. Complete, very good condition. There's also a second one, whereas this one only goes up to the end of Diamond and Pearl, Gen 4, that goes up to the end of Gen 5 with Black and White. So I intend to get that at some point. It's about the same price. But I haven't tried this yet, but I really want to, so I'll give this a go soon. One Wii U Pokemon game, which I know Al featured, which is Pokemon Tournament. I also bought this on release. As you can see, it says about the Mewtwo card, which Al showed. It's an amiibo card. It works exactly the same as an amiibo, but it unlocks Shadow Mewtwo for you to use in the game, who is the final boss. Although it might only be you can use it once, I can't remember. I do have the card. It's just not in here because I've got a folder for amiibo cards and it's in there. But I do have it. And if I remember rightly, it's called Pokemon Tournament because I think either there was a tie-up with whoever made Tekken, or it's based on Tekken, or something like that. I'm sure there's a connection with Tekken, which is where the whole name Pokemon comes from. But all I can see is the Pokemon Company. Oh no, there we go. At the bottom, it's not very clear, but it does actually say Bandai Namco. Are they the ones who make Tekken? Or am I wrong? I'm not really a Tekken fan, so I'm not sure. But I think it is a Pokemon game based on Tekken, which is why you have Pokemon actually fighting rather than do battling, as you normally would. Fun game, but a bit hard to master if I'm honest. But it's one I bought on release. And the last spin-off game I've got in English is for the Switch, and it's new Pokemon Snap. This came out 20 years after the original, which people are so happy to have this, and it's a fun game. But it's not as good as the original Snap, if you ask me. There's more Pokemon to get on this one, which is good, and there's a few new features, and it directly references the original, so it is definitely a sequel. But at times it feels too complicated, although they did release DLC with new course in Pokemon Snap, so I haven't fully explored that yet. It's a good game, it's fun, it's worth having and playing, but I think the original's better. I have got two big piles of Pokemon games like here right now. Okay. The aim is to get this done in under an hour. We're now on to the foreign games. I'm going to rush through these. So, as you may know, I like my foreign games. I've got some up here like Dreamcast, etc. And Pokemon's no different. So we'll go in generation order. I don't have as many of these, but we will start off with one which is a Japanese exclusive, which is Pokemon Green. So this was one that came out along with Japanese Red and was the very first games released. They then released Blue, I think, which is not the same as our Blue, and then Yellow. I'd like to get a Japanese Blue because it's a completely different one to the one we have. In fact, we never even got anything like it. You can find, I think, Jinx in the wild, Lickitung in the wild, and it's got better graphics than these. Some of the graphics, I think, on Red and Green are absolutely weird. But yeah, Pokemon Green, I can't think where the hell I bought it, but it's fun. I've given it a go, but I have a feeling the battery's going on it, so I don't think it always saves, unfortunately, but yeah, so I might have to invest in a few of the Game Boy game batteries. Then, also, compared to Red, Blue and Yellow, this was like 10 quid most. I think I got it maybe from Alan's Japanese Retro Games, but I'm not sure about that. I think I got these from Super Retro Bros. Gold and silver. Which, as you can see, are not in gold and silver cartridges. And in fact, they are two-toned, both of them. So it's more grey at the front than blue, and this one's more blue at the front than grey. Although the blue and the grey is actually different. These are also like 10 quid, much cheaper than UK ones. Thankfully I can read some Japanese. I played the original so much, I know what I'm doing. Otherwise it could be a challenge to play, I will admit. But love Gen 2. It's probably my second favourite after Gen 3. And I want Japanese games in there, so they're cheap. So, Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Silver. I'd love to get Crystal one day. And the Pokemon game I've probably been playing the most lately, this cost me, technically it's only cost me about £5, but I used Buy, which I know other people have used, to get it from Japan itself. So it cost more, allowing for delivery and purchase fee off Buy, off Yahoo auctions and all that. But I think the game itself was like 1,000 yen, which is about, what, 6-7 quid most. And it's Sapphire. So it's got the see-through cartridge, same as ours. It's just like a different label for Japanese, but this is so fun. This has taken me back to playing through Ruby for the first time. Partly because I've never played Sapphire. Well, not the cartridge anyway. And also exploring Hoenn in Japanese is something I've never done. So it's also testing my Japanese and my memory of playing the original games. So, loving this. Really happy I bought this. Having a lot of fun playing through it. So, it's good. It's good to go through these old games in a foreign language. Because not only does it test that your knowledge of the foreign language or your deduction skills, but it's good going through these old regions again. But you get a new twist where you're not able to just read it and it tweaks stuff straight away from reading it. It's like, okay, you're not sure, it's got to think. It's almost as if playing again new. It's a really good experience. But so this not just play the old games, even if you play them a while, it's been so good. Have some couple of so from there we have Pearl again in Japanese. I think I bought this off. No, I bought this from London Gaming Market as a Christmas present for myself. Well, not for myself. I had some money given to me. I think it was the Gaming Market. Yeah, pretty sure it's the Gaming Market. I bought this. I think it's like 15 quid or something, and it's complete. So it's the same game, just Japanese, but it's a cool thing to have another Japanese Pokemon game. Okay, now this is the big one. Soul Silver. Imported this from Japan, or rather I got my mate to do it for me. Appreciated. So this is brand new when I bought it, complete. Yeah, this is what some of the ones look like. So you have the box here with the Pokewalker. This is a Japanese Pokewalker. I have got English ones. Throwing the man on the floor. There's the game itself. So I do have Soul Silver. I play this a lot. It was fun playing through this the first time. Really test my Japanese. I said with Sapphire, but going through Johto and Kanto again. Except this time, this is before this even came out in English, so I'd never played these remakes before. This is the first time not going through the regions again, so I've done that in the originals, but with the extra Pokemon, extra areas. So that was a cool thing to do. And it is complete, it's just the cartridge is in my case. But yeah, really happy to get this game. I think it cost me about 50, 60 quid, I think. I think it was imported from Play Asia, maybe. And then I did the import trick again, except this time I did it myself. And that was Pokemon White. I actually bought my mate Black at the same time, I think. I think I was going to have Black originally. But then decided, no, I like the other one better, so I went for this one. So I had the better one in English, because I wanted one Japanese, one English. It's in the cardboard sleeve, but it's just got the basic case here. As I said, cartridge again is in the case, but by this point they were region lock. Soul Silver wasn't, so I can play it on any DS. This was, so I have to play it on my DS Lite, which isn't region locked. And then also did the trick again with White 2. This is probably one of my favourite ones to play. There's a tournament at the end of this game, which I didn't mention for Black 2, where you battle all the old gym leaders and champions from the first 5 regions of games. That's a lot of fun. was also really fun playing this the first time. Especially White, where it's a completely brand new game. Never been to region, never met the Pokemon. That was an experience and a half. Not just going to a new region and meeting new Pokemon, but doing it in a language where I could only read some of it. And I had to figure out a lot of stuff. That was fun. But yeah, White 2. Hope to get all them free in English at some point as well. Have one more. Nope, we're going to this bit. Got some American main series games. Got Pearl again. Bought this off my mate. Again, cartridges away, so what I'll probably do is put this one away and swap it out with my new one. I don't think I ever actually got around to playing this. Yeah, like I said, bought this off my mate. So, yeah, that's much appreciated. And also bought White off him. So I have an English White, just not the English White. And this one has the manual. So they're going to be the same as the Power ones. This is going to be the same as Black, obviously, except just White's a few different Pokemon. But yeah, it's cool. It means I've got some Japanese, got some American, got a lot of the European ones. Got a couple of foreign spin-off games. Got Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Darkness. Wait. Says it's Explorers of Darkness. I don't think it is. I think it's Blue Mystery Team again. But yeah, it's a cool case. I've got the game. Yeah. But again, I wouldn't play much anyway. Mystery Dungeon one. And this cool one, Pokemon Terese, which is the Japanese version of Pokemon Link. So I actually have 2 copies of it. But this one I do have the actual cartridge. So yeah. Ooh. Got a few more, last few games to show, but actually got one more I want to grab quickly. Trading card game for Game Boy Color in box. I don't think this was that much for my boy, but I think it's gone up quite a bit now. So, got a leaflet. Got the manuals. And got the game in the case. So, really happy to have this. It's so cool to have a complete box Japanese Pokemon game for the Game Boy Color. Forgot about that one. So it's 72 games. Last bunch. So, Japanese, we've got Pokemon Snap, completely different cover sticker, but there you go. Right, okay. Pokemon Stadium. So, Japanese Pokemon Stadium is different to ours. This is actually a cut down version of our one. I think it's only got like half the Pokemon, like Pikachu, all the evolved ones, and maybe the odd few. And way less modes. It's a cool thing to have, actually. And these aren't much, these Pokemon Stadium games in Japanese. They're really not. So that's the first one. Then you get Pokemon Stadium 2, which is actually our Pokemon Stadium 1. In fact, this one has a sticker saying like 100 yen on it. Otherwise, it's the same as our Pokemon Stadium. And Pokemon Stadium Gold and Silver, which is the same as our Pokemon Stadium 2. Very shiny sticker. Then we have this one. No. Also, I actually have a second copy of each of these. Just to prove it. And I think I bought them, then I got another copy that came with my Japanese 64. This game, which is Hey You Pikachu, which only came out in Japan and America, because apparently Pikachu can't understand British accents. You basically talk to Pikachu through a microphone and tell it what to do. And obviously I can't play it because I haven't got a headset, let alone speak enough Japanese to talk it. I can do some, but not this much. But still, it's a fun game to have. Try and get the American one at some point. And maybe, just maybe, I can put on enough of an American accent to get it to work. Then we have Pokemon Colosseum for the GameCube. I love these cool Japanese GameCube cases. There's the manual showing the Espeon and Umbreon figures. There's the disc. So I can play that on my Japanese GameCube. One more Japanese GameCube game. Haven't got XD, but I do actually have a case for box in this case. So cool and shiny. As you can see, it mentions a memory card. Well, I paid extra because I think these came from Alan's Japanese Retro Games, and I paid extra to get the ones with the memory card. So there's the manual, the disc, and the memory card, which when you take it out is like that, and then like that. So based on the Ruby and Sapphire cartridges. Really happy with that. It cost me 40 quid, but it's worth it in my opinion. And that leaves us with one final spin-off game, which is Pokemon Battle Revolution. I think I actually bought this before the English one. I picked this up at the London Gaming Market in November for 12 quid. And then I went and bought the Japanese Wii a month later, so that's good. So yeah, it's exactly the same as that. So to my knowledge, that is my complete Pokemon game collection. I said I've had other ones in the past I've had to get rid of, unfortunately. Otherwise, if I'd been more careful, I would have also had like my yellow box, I would have had red and blue box, gold box, silver box. Yeah, Soul Silver, etc. Which I want to add one day to the collection. I'm slowly getting there now. I'm hopefully going to get some credits soon, which will get me some of the way towards my next target, which is Platinum. But I will be looking for ones like Pokemon Dash, which I don't think are as much, but I haven't seen how much it's been lately, so I have to keep an eye out for that. And I'd love to get some more foreign games. So yeah, I'd like to get Hey Pikachu in American if I can, so I might actually be able to play it. Yeah. So in case you didn't already, yeah, I'm a Pokemon fan. So I apologise for the video dragging on. I've been talking for an hour, even though I'm fed up of hearing my voice by now. But to those of you that have stuck with me the whole way, or even if it's in bits, it's much appreciated. I'd love to hear your input on, well, Pokemon really. Is there any games there you didn't even know existed, you weren't aware about? Any obvious ones I'm missing you think that I should go for that I haven't mentioned? What is your favourite Pokemon game? What are your memories like? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to find out. Maybe do follow-up videos, as I said, show the cartridges that I've put away. Maybe show some other stuff, like the cards I'm probably going to show at some point. Maybe show some manga if you want. Got a few DVDs as well, which I didn't mention, and figures. Plushies. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff. And hell, if people want to have a Pokemon live stream chat where we just talk Pokemon, let me know. I'd happily arrange it. But I've got to go to work in the office in the morning. It's one time in the week I do. And I think it's going on for midnight. So I better guess I'll go to bed. So I've got to put all these away. So that's going to be fun. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching this. I really hope you enjoyed it. And thank you to everyone who's recently subscribed. And even those of you that have subscribed to me for a long time, thank you for your continued support. It means so much. And thanks to all of you as well. The channel has been blossoming lately, and I really appreciate it. There'll be new pickups coming. I've got some 64 games to show. A couple of other games I'd failed to mention before. I'd love to do more collection videos, discussions, and of course, more GeekMaster. So, plenty of stuff to come. But thank you for watching, and I will catch you all later. May the geek be with you, always.